Great. This is live. And so for those of you that are watching my bloopers, I've been trying to figure out how to use the countdown timer. Hopefully it worked today. I just streamed a live stream where I could not switch to camera. So I had to ChatGPT that. And hopefully it's working a little better now. We'll see. Maybe next live will be a bit smoother. And today, hopefully, my Instagram friends are joining us. So I've been streaming to Facebook and YouTube for the last 5 days. We're on day 6 now. Yay! And I apologize to you on Instagram who haven't seen the previous streams. However, I will be posting the replays on IGTV. So if that's you, you can watch them there, or you can just go to YouTube or Facebook. So welcome to day 6 of Live for Life Satisfaction. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Viv, your strategist for a meaningful, vibrant, and happy life. Okay, so today's topic is, let's check again, if you've broken trust with yourself and how to regain your confidence, or if you just need more confidence. And I'm going to really delve into what that means and also talk about a couple of really simple tools or strategies that you can use to rebuild that confidence quite easily with some time. So I just want to start off by talking about a book. It's not about a book. It's actually about a story from a book. So Arnold Schwarzenegger's latest book, Be Useful. It's actually on, it's number 2 on my top 20 life-changing books. If you're interested in that list, just DM me and I'll send that to you. In any case, it's a wonderful listen. I listened to it. I love his voice, and honestly, I didn't even know what it was about. I just clicked the play on the the little preview that you can get in the audiobook sometimes, and I just loved his voice, and I loved the messages he said. So in that book, he talks about an experience of helping to build confidence in youth who have special needs. And what he did was, these were youth that either lacked confidence, and they didn't maybe even have a lot of physical ability, or not that they don't have physical ability, but they just lack confidence in different areas. And so he actually started weight training with them, and was able to see, because weight training is pretty straightforward with the proper guidance, and you can always start really, really small and just kind of like build your way up. And so he started weight training with them, and very quickly they were able to make gains and start to feel a real sense of confidence, and that translated into self-esteem, that translated into confidence in other areas, and it was really a beautiful story. And I can also share with you a personal experience and story of how I did something similar. So, after my son was born, it was a very difficult labor of 6 days. Yes. And so I was actually left with 2 herniated discs in my neck. And then shortly after, I developed inflammatory arthritis. So as you can imagine, postpartum recovery was really difficult. And of course, this experience, as beautiful it was to give birth, was a bit shattering in terms of my confidence, and so anyways, I had to rebuild back my vitality, my physical vitality. And so I actually started off, and this is what I did. I didn't go do this, actually this is before I read the book, and I didn't do this intentionally to rebuild my confidence. However, I have to say that my confidence was also starting to suffer as a parent, as a new parent, because you're thrown into something completely new. You have no idea what to do, especially when the baby is like brand new and it's like screaming and crying. And we didn't have any guidance. We had no grandparents or nobody around, unfortunately. And it was COVID, so there was not even a lactation specialist or nothing close by. And so we just have this like screaming baby, and you don't know what to do, and like you just don't want to break it and whatever. And anyways, so this goes on to like total life chaos, right? And then you have to go to like appointments. Like first it's like, doctor appointments, like checkup appointments for the baby and things like this. And like, oh my God, the shame of like half an hour late, 20 minutes late, an hour late. Oops, I forgot the appointment late, you know? And I was like, oh my God, because no sleep, like just the stress of, he had colic. Okay. So for a couple months he had colic and it was just really difficult. So that really started to shatter my confidence. I mean, I always was a person that like showed up on time. I could rely on my mind to, answer questions, remember yesterday, which was not happening for a while. So needless to say, my confidence suffered a lot. And I was just trying to build back my physical vitality. So I started really slow. And I actually teach this in my morning vitality start program. But so I started off with just like rubbing, like rubbing in the morning. I call it rubbing. It's like, it's this little routine where I rub my whole body and it just invigorates, serotonin and kind of like blood flow, lymph and stuff. I didn't have all that, like, I wasn't doing that with those strategies in mind, by the way. It was just a old Chinese technique that was taught to me by my husband. And so in any case, I just started with that and it's really baby stepped it. But, with the neck and everything, it was, and I also had a hernia, an umbilical hernia too. So was compromised in the midsection, compromised in the neck, compromised in the brain. And it was tough. So I baby stepped it and I developed, because I do have a background in exercise science, not only from university, but I did certify as a personal trainer and certify as a yoga instructor. And exercise has always been a passion of mine. Did a lot of martial arts, rock climbing, things like that. In any case, so I had a wealth of experience in terms of how the body works and different exercises you could do, and for healing, with eccentric exercise, healing my tendonitis and things like that. So I built this morning vitality routine, right? As I mentioned, and I started doing it every day. But it's a long routine. It's like it can be an hour plus. Nevertheless, I started with baby steps, right? Baby steps. And the great thing that Arnold reminded me about was when you have give yourself a challenge with a physical task, like exercise related, and set a small manageable goal, you can really build confidence in yourself. And it's great because you're also building health, strength, vitality. Exercise promotes those positive endorphins in your brain. It really helps. Like it could be a cure even for depression. So in any case, so I started building up my confidence with doing that and making sure it was a daily practice, so I didn't overwhelm myself. And this brings me to my teaching point, which is starting with a small doable daily commitment of anything. Right now, I recommend something exercise related because it's just so health promoting. And you could start with, like, if you're in bed with tons of pain and nowhere to start, then you just start with like rubbing or something simple like that, or a tiny little intention practice. You can progress to a tiny walk around your neighborhood, right? And then you can kind of progress to building yourself a little routine. Another thing that you could do, if you really don't want to exercise, or if you want to add another layer to this, is with reading, right? So feeding your mind, that's always a really great thing to do. And I know this can be overwhelming, and this is an area where we can break a lot of trust with ourselves. So that was the thing I was talking about, breaking trust. So it's like when you make a commitment, it could be to another person, like an appointment, or it could be, okay, I'm going to read 10 books this year. And then, you bought the 10 books, and then like maybe you've read a paragraph by the end of the year, right? And then you feel like crap. And you say like, okay, I'm going to read this year, I'm going to read half an hour a day, right? And like things get in the way and you don't do it and you feel like crap. So this is where you break your trust. And this is what leads to lower confidence in yourself. So the way to build back your confidence is to start with daily, small, actionable steps or items that you can do to build your confidence. So if you're going to choose reading, right, you can pick your book of choice. It could even be a leisure book, right? And just say, I'm just going to read a sentence a day. You know, you could be brave and you could go for a page. But me and my husband, when we were in the depths of the parenting difficulties, we were like, okay, we love this goal, but we're just going to commit to not feel bad, to build confidence. We're just going to commit to a sentence. Now, this is where you got to practice grace, and not be hard on yourself if you don't remember the sentence the next day. You're like, oh crap, what was the sentence I read? You know, it's just giving yourself that pat on the back and the check mark that I did it, right? You don't have to retain it. That's not what this is about. This is about building confidence in yourself by following through with something that you commit to. So we want to start with something really small, and then we can build on that. And I can tell you what happens when you really do this with the right intention and the kind, ample spirit of grace for yourself, that you persist and you actually expand. So I have read, about, if you count like listening and reading, about 100 books in the last 2 years, which I can't even believe. Okay, and now it's not as many written, but still there's quite a pile. And you know, and I'm not a fast reader, by the way. So this is just over time. You know, it actually becomes cumulative, because sometimes you have a good night and one sentence turns into 10 pages. And sometimes what can happen is you're super exhausted. I know I've sometimes been super exhausted, and then it's like, oh God, I don't want to do the reading thing. But wait, what's at stake here? What's at stake? What's at stake is the trust in myself, my integrity with myself, my self-confidence, but really the fundamental trust in yourself, right? That's at stake. And it's only going to cost me 5 seconds to keep that trust and build on it. So, you know, sometimes my vision was blurry and I have to turn on the little reading light or go to the bathroom because the lights are off, and just like, okay, what's that sentence? What's that damn sentence? Read the sentence. Okay, thank you. You know, some nights it really was like that. Other nights it was a paragraph. Other nights it was a page. Other nights it was more, you know. But just having that small daily practice can really help. So you can choose in which way you want to do it. And I'd really love to hear your experience. Okay. So I'd love to hear your either success story or a challenge that you're going to give yourself. So perhaps pick what you want to do. You know, what is the actionable item that you want to commit to doing every day to rebuild or super build your confidence? And just share that with me in the chat. Okay. So if you got value out of today's session, despite the really comical beginning, please, show some love, like, share, follow, and subscribe. And I really hope to see you tomorrow, hopefully with less bloopers. And yeah, so thank you for joining us today.